all of the parampara. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, this morning we're going to read from the 11th canto, chapter 3, text number 23. I'm just going to read the translation. The purport is really long. And we'll just discuss what's in the translation. A sincere disciple should learn to dissociate the mind from everything material and positively cultivate association with his or her spiritual master and other saintly devotees. She should be merciful to those in an inferior position to him or her. Cultivate friendship with those on an equal level and meekly serve those in a higher spiritual position. Thus, she should learn to deal properly with all living beings. Purported by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And I'd just like to say a few prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gina Gina Shalakaya Chakshir Amritamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my many spiritual masters are kindly and continually opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances to all of them, and especially to Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharya Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadish. Dear Srila Prabhupada, we are gathered here together to try to begin to understand the depth of what it is that you've come to share with us. Dear Lord Krishna, dear Radha Muralidhar, please allow this class to be relevant and pertinent to our lives, to help us to see you in the circumstances of our life. So when I read this long purport, I became a little overwhelmed. It was a lot of how to fulfill on this translation of dissociating the mind from everything material and positively cultivating association, and how to be merciful and cultivate friendship, and to properly and humbly serve others. And on the way here, New York is a microcosm of the material world and the material energy. And this Srimad Bhagavatam was written many years ago. And at that time, there was a bit of a culture and like a rich culture, and life was moving very slowly. And it was a lot easier to discern what is what, just because everything was a little bit slower. Kali Yuga began 5,000 years ago. And even just in the last 100 years, life has sped up so much so much. And we think we're advancing as life speeds up. And there are some things that are convenient. Zoom is a little convenient. However, we need Zoom because we're so far away from each other and we're so busy and we don't have time to come because we've got to maintain ourselves. So as the material energy speeds up and Kali Yuga progresses, what is it going to take for us to fulfill on these translations and to become Krishna conscious? What's it going to take? How can we slow down enough to absorb and integrate the messages of the Srimad Bhagavatam? So when I read this verse, it reminded me of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya came 500 years ago, so he was a little bit more current, what would you call it? A little bit more current. And he was talking about the age of Kali Yuga, and he was expressing about chanting the holy names. And I believe, I may be wrong here, but originally, and you'll hear Indians say Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. And technically, I think that's the Vedic mantra. That's the Vedic mantra, but technically, you have to pronounce that perfectly to get the benefits of the mantra. And there used to be a culture where people could do that. But in Kali Yuga, oh my gosh, it's so intense. So it got flipped around to be Hare Krishna and Hare Rama because there's no right way to chant Hare Krishna. And you can chant Hare Krishna without offense, in one sense, anywhere and in any situation, because Lord Chaitanya knew it was going to get more intense than it was 500 years ago. And it was kind of intense for him. They had to do a little revolution with the Kazi and all of that. So it's kind of intense. Those were very real events. And there were really real events when people came and took the deities, and those were real events. Well, there are real events happening now too. It's getting more intense. So Lord Chaitanya wanted to make it simple. Okay, you guys are in Kali Yuga. There's not a rich culture here. We're not going to be able to discern. How can we even really discern? Dissociate the mind from everything material. Wow. Well, a lot of what's material is subtle and we can't even see it. So usually we think material means something I can feel or touch or see a person. That person is not coming to the temple. However, inside of our own minds, there are a lot of subtle beliefs and thoughts which are material. And for 30 years, I tried to paste Krishna consciousness on top of those subtle material beliefs, which I didn't even know I had, because externally I was doing so many things. I thought I was a good devotee. But there's so much subtle material energy to dissociate with. And that's even more intense. So how can we discern, exactly what's material and what's spiritual? It takes a lot of self-awareness, self-reflection to even discern what's going on inside of our own self. Am I materially motivated? Now, most of us, when we come to Krishna consciousness, there's some material motivation. I want out of pain. This material world is crazy. It's hellish. We do want to run away from some pain. So there is some material motivation. Luckily, Krishna says, whether you have all material desires or no material desires, just approach me. Now, Lord Chaitanya made it even easier. Chant Hare Krishna, approach me, come to me, and gradually you will be purified, if that's what you really want. Now, here in the verse it says to be merciful for those who are in an inferior position, friends with those who are on an equal level, and meekly serve those in a higher position. In my travels in Krishna consciousness, I've come to understand that I don't know very much. I don't know who you are. I don't know how many lifetimes you've been in devotional service. I don't even know who I am, what to speak of who you are. So for me to think that just because I've been in the movement for a few decades, that I know more or I'm more whatever, that could be a fallible statement. That could be incorrect because I don't know who you all are. So I like to take Lord Chaitanya's third Shikshashtakam verse. And he said that this is the one that we want to string around our neck, right? So the third Shikshashtakam verse. Who wants to say the third Shikshashtakam verse? Any of you? Go ahead.
Oh, we're going to do it all together.
Okay, go ahead, do it all together. You go. Rorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Translation. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. Constantly. And isn't it to offer all respects to others and not expect any?
For oneself.
For oneself? Yeah. Yeah. So this verse to me trumps this verse. So what Lord Chaitanya is saying is one should offer respect to everyone and not expect respect from anyone. That verse trumps this verse. Now, how do we do that? How do we respect everyone and anyone? And how do we not expect respect for ourselves? Well, let's look at the first part. How do we respect anyone and everyone? As we get older, as I get older, I get a chance to look back in retrospect and look at all the mistakes that I made and look at all the unconsciousness and denial I was in just in this one lifetime. What to speak of how many lifetimes there were before that. And I see that I went through phases and different places of consciousness and denial and unconsciousness just in this one lifetime, what to speak of what there was before that. So like I said, I don't know how long any of you have been in devotional life in your lifetimes. I don't know what you've done before this. I don't know who I am. So when I see others that may be doing things that maybe I used to do and I'm not doing, how can I respect them? I can understand that wherever they are in their consciousness, wherever they are in their spiritual journey, they're doing the best that they can at this point in time in their life. Now, if someone is their first life in human life and they came from an animal life, they may have a tendency to act more like an animal because that's how they're acclimated. Was I an animal in some lifetime? Absolutely. Was I an insect? And so that person in that first lifetime in human life is doing the best they can to acclimate. So if we want to think about it, welcome, Gaur. if we want to think about it in terms of like grade levels. I have a granddaughter who's 5 years old. I was just visiting her. She's going to kindergarten. Do I expect a kindergartner to be able to do even, well, she's learning a little math, but algebra? What to speak of physics? No, it's beyond her capacity at this point. You know, she's learning her letters. She's learning how to read and sound out sounds. That's the best that she can do with where she is right now. That's all she can do. And so when we look at others and we see being a soul in a human machine in this material Kali Yuga world is quite overwhelming and bombarding. And we see others suffering rather than thinking, oh my gosh, look what they're doing there on the street, acting like an animal, thinking, wow, that person's really unconscious and they're doing the best they can to survive. And they must be suffering a lot. And as we go through lifetimes of growth and awakening, let's say, and waking up more and more, we become more and more present to the suffering in the world. And we may even become more present and clear about our own suffering. And when we become more present of our own suffering and what it takes to be a soul in a human machine, it's the most challenging life there is. Animals just go by instinct, and we don't even know how to go by instinct. And we believe everything the mind tells us. So it's very challenging. And then what to speak of now, we're coming to Krishna consciousness and making a declaration. I want to be Krishna conscious. Well, that's going to necessitate being conscious too. So as we become conscious of our own suffering and learn how to respect the challenges that we face in being Krishna conscious, the challenges we face in keeping our vows, the challenges we face in managing our emotions, the challenges we face in our interactions with others, the challenges we face in getting here to the Bhakti Center this morning. When we can respect the challenges that we're going through and be a little compassionate towards ourselves, that self-empathy, that self-compassion has us respecting our own journey and not beating ourselves up for how long it's taking, but respecting that we're on this daily, day-by-day journey to awaken more and more. Then we can also respect others. And if we can get this verse, this third verse, and really get it, how do I become tolerant, more tolerant than a tree? Well, a lot of times we can't tolerate even just being in our own body. We don't like our body. We don't like our mind. We can barely tolerate it. It's like, and what do? Then we go out here and we try to distract ourselves and we keep ourselves so busy so we don't have to be with how hard it is just to be in our own body and mind. So when we can become conscious about how challenging it is and be compassionate and encouraging ourselves, then we can really be there for others and encourage them in their journey, because we really get it ain't easy. So I'm going to stop there because I think that was plenty to want to absorb. And sometimes less said is better. So any thoughts, arguments, questions, discussion about that?
Your voice is low, Prabhu.
My voice is low?
No, his.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Gail has her hand up.
Gail.
Hi, Krishna Sukhavaha. Of
Hi.
course, I was very excited when I realized that you were speaking today.
I'm excited you're here.
Thank you. I often hear you say how hard it is to be a soul in a human machine. So can you just elaborate on that? Why it's harder to be in a human machine than in an animal machine?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Animals run by instinct. They don't have a higher developed brain. They have the primordial brain, which is survival, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, play dead. And they survive that way. So now we've come to this human form of life. Now we have this mind. And the mind is a meaning-making machine. And it has to kind of figure things out now. It's not living by pure instinct, although the instinctual nature is still there. And it's trying to figure everything out. And in this figuring out, it makes meaning of things. And in its figuring out, a lot of times it makes meaning and it makes conclusions which are fallacious. They're not true. They're untrue conclusions. Because we don't know the absolute truth, because it's we're just developing our consciousness. So dealing with this meaning-making mind, the meaning-making mind can really trick us and overwhelm us and complicate issues because it tells us things sometimes that aren't true. And then we believe them, and then we work on those false assumptions, and then that complicates things. And the mind tries to get us to fix everything. And sometimes the more we fix things, the more complicated things become, just like Kali Yuga. It looks like we're civilized now and we've got more machines and we're improving and we're improving and we're improving. And yet there's so much more mental disease, anxiety, depression. There's so much more than there used to be because life is moving so fast. So is that enough, Gail?
Yeah, just when you say that animals live instinctually,
Yes.
The reason why that's easier is because it's a reactive way of living, right? You're not
right. Reactive. Yes.
You're not making any meanings out of anything. You're just
right.
It's
yeah.
thoughtless living.
Yes, thoughtless living. I'm scared, I'm running. And sometimes we even do that in our human body. We have instincts like, I don't like this, I'm getting out of here. We have that instinct, but that instinct may be based on preconceptions or misconceptions, that are not true. Like nobody loves me. So I look at everybody and they look like they don't love me. And so then it complicates the issue. Is that okay, Gail?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anybody else? You call on them. Anybody here? Go ahead. Prabhu, what's your name?
Manohar.
Manohar. Okay, Manohar is going to ask a question.
Thank you for your class this morning, Sukhavaha Mataji, and especially for coming in person. It's very nice to be in your association this morning. I had one question about the Trinadapi Sunicine verse in conjunction with this morning's verse. And it's interesting that it's here in the 11th canto, and it seems like a similar verse is in Nectar of Instruction. And I was curious about how those two could be not exactly synonymous, but mutually instructive. Because naturally we'll honor or offer respect in unique ways according to the circumstance. So I was wondering if that had anything to do with these two verses I had.
Well, all of this, merciful to those who are inferior, friendship with peers, and humbly serving those in higher position, that's all respect. That's all respect. Merciful is respect. Friendship, there's a certain reciprocal respect. And someone who's in an exterior higher position, you know, how can I serve you? That's all respect. So this is just kind of expressing kind of a little bit more clearly how that respect could be expressed. Does that make sense? Anything else?
I guess I was also curious. I think I remember studying some purports explaining also the. I like how you mentioned that there can be the external superiority, but also in advancement. I think sometimes I've seen in purports where it's referring to deeper spiritual advancement or realization.
Yeah, okay. Sometimes advancement is a little tough for us to discern. I'm looking at him, but should I look here? Where do I look? Krishna. Because, like I said, what do I know? There's a story in the Bhagavatam about, I think it's in the Bhagavatam, or I've heard it many times, about the cobbler and the Brahmana. Maybe you have heard this story, and they both saw Narada Muni, and they both asked Narada Muni to ask Vishnu or Krishna when they're coming back. And the Brahmana was doing everything perfectly, and the cobbler was a cobbler, right? And then we found out that the cobbler was going to go back and in this lifetime, and the Brahmana had to wait for 3 more lifetimes. And the Brahmana was incensed, like, you didn't go see Vishnu. What was he doing? He was so angry, which is clearly brings up exactly why he wasn't going back. And the cobbler was overwhelmed with amazement. Really? Wow, that's so cool. How did that happen? What was my Lord doing? And then you could see, oh, yes, my Lord can do anything. So it's hard to discern sometimes advancement. But that doesn't mean that we can't respect anybody and everybody. Who we associate with would be those who, when we're in their association, we feel encouraged, inspired, and we feel like we're deepening our consciousness. And that's an individual process. So if you find someone who's speaking with something that you resonate with, that might be a person that could be helpful for you at this point in time in your life. Is that a simple enough way to discern? Because otherwise, you know, we're all different and we're all inspired by different things. So what resonates with you, that would be helping you where you are right now, or what inspires you maybe even more, or is that resonates at a tone that is intriguing to you, you know. But if something feels like doesn't feel very good, then that might not be the person that may help you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I appreciate your story. It sounds like you should associate with the cobbler for sure.
With the what?
With the cobbler.
With the cobbler, yeah. What do we know? So, you know, we just see the mood of the person. It's not the external, but what's the mood of the person? You know, what is their mood? You know, am I strict? Am I doing it like, okay, so that's a mood. And some people are in that mood. And some people, you know, like that. And some people don't. Thank you for your questions. Okay, I want to see if there's other questions here. I see a hand. Jay Robinson.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Please
What-
accept my humble obeisances.
Yes.
I just have a question, a kind of neophyte question here, so pardon the level this comes from.
Whatever.
But you spoke briefly about Hare Rama, Hare Krishna
Yeah.
as a Vedic mantra, and my partner and I were at an ashram, and they chanted the Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, that order each morning. We couldn't really get an answer as to when or why it shifted to Hare Krishna in our tradition. Can you speak a bit about that?
I believe that was Lord Chaitanya who brought it and brought the Maha Mantra, and he flipped it. And he flipped it because he knew we're in Kali Yuga and we may not have the proper intonations. And, you know, to make it easier for us, he flipped it. And then it was like, just chant Hare Krishna, do your best. You don't have to get the perfect Vedic intonations or pronunciations. Thank you, Lord Chaitanya. And you'll still make advancement. So Lord Chaitanya would be the answer.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. I didn't find that out until like in the last probably 5 years. So I don't know that it's a neophyte question. Okay, so we've got Narottam Nitai.
No, that's fantastic. I just wanted to just make a quick comment on that one because what I've heard is that previously, before the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Brahmanas had changed it, or that's what I've heard. No, I'm not sure.
Brahmanas changed it before Lord Chaitanya came.
Yeah, and because they were debating whether Lord Ramachandra or Lord Krishna had appeared first, and so I'm not to get into speculation, but that's what I've heard. But
Okay.
yeah.
And
But
it could be both things too. They may have flipped it and then Lord Chaitanya may have just reinforced it. I mean, I'm not into technicalities myself, but I know that Lord Chaitanya definitely emphasized the Maha Mantra for sure. So yeah,
yes.
and maybe those guys did have arguments about that. Sounds like something that Brahmanas might argue about.
Yes, no, I appreciate your approach too because it's like not getting caught in technicalities, but really getting swept up by the mood of and the spirit of devotion. That's I really appreciate that. That's like the best. So my nonetheless, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. It is all about the mood because Krishna doesn't really need what we do externally, but he wants to understand what's the mood of our heart. And so Mother Yasoda was able to bind Krishna because the mood of her heart was infused with love that had to get to the point of frustration, and that bound Krishna. So it's definitely, our mood is the most important thing. So thank you so much. Devaki Priti. Devaki Priti. Are you in Gita Nagari?
Yes.
I think I met you and I remembered your name and I wrote it down.
Yes, in New Vrindavan.
I did. Devaki Priti, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much for your class. I had a question. How can we see people more for their intentions rather than just externally judging them based on what we may see them doing or saying?
Okay, that's a great question. People do all kinds of things. I've done all kinds of things to survive trauma and frustration. Generally, what I've come to understand through nonviolent communication is that my judgment about you tells me more about me and what I need than it tells me about you. So if I think that you're mean or rude, I may be sensitive, or I may be feeling, I may have a lot of hurt inside of me. And you might have been brought up in a family of 10 kids where everybody yelled and screamed at each other because they had to get what they needed. And so then when you like talk to me like this, I think, God, you're like so heavy. Why do you have to talk like that? I mean, I had a boss like that one time, and he said, why are you getting so defensive? I said, well, you're yelling at me. He said, I'm not yelling. This is the way I talk. And I'm like, I got it. So I may need sensitivity. I may need understanding. And that person may need some understanding too, but they're doing what they're doing because that's what they learned how to do when they were young. And my interpretation of them, that you're mean or you're rude, is my interpretation of what you're doing. You're doing what you're doing. I might be able to request you. I'm having trouble kind of hearing you or getting what it is you're trying to say. Is there another way you could say that? And they may say, no, what's wrong with the way I said it? So people are doing their very best. This is what Marshall Rosenberg asserts, which I believe is true. Everyone's doing the best that they can in that moment to meet their needs. And they may desperately need you to listen to them. They may desperately need you to do something for them. And they're so desperate that the way they express it feels really heavy. Now, can I recognize that and hold my boundaries with myself and say, wow, I hear that you really need that to be done right now. And I hear that you want me to do that. And I'm so sorry, I'm not going to be able to do that right now. Can I hold that boundary? Can I hold that? But that takes a lot of self-respect. So when I can respect myself and what I need, I can respect that you really need this right now. And I can respect that I'm not going to be able to be the one to do it for you. At the same time, mutual respect. So boundaries is an important thing that I learned much later in life. I'm still learning boundaries. So boundaries is the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. So when we have a judgment, we can look inside, what's going on for me? What do I need that this person is not providing or maybe cannot provide? And how can I have that need met? Can I have a conversation and have it met? If not, can I excuse myself graciously and get my need met in another way? But there's a lot of meaning making. If I say no, I'm a bad person. The mind is going to make that all up. If I say no, then I'm a bad person. I can't say no. But I don't want to do this. So, can I be authentic and say, I hear you want me to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. Can I say that? I may not be able to say that at that point in time. And so maybe I say yes, and then maybe I'm angry at you that you said that and I did, and then I'm angry at myself that I did it. So there's a lot of meaning making that goes on there. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm so happy that you started talking about nonviolent communication because that's something I'm learning.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I really feel that yeah, the answer that you gave was just what I needed in terms of using what I know, but also using NVC more, because that's something I'm trying to more actively use, not just know about. So I loved your answer, how we look at ourselves and we're the only ones, we can change ourselves. We can't change anyone else. So that's the best place. That's the best place to work.
Exactly. You said it. You got it. We can't change anybody else. And actually, that's not our job to change anybody else. Physician, heal thyself. We're here to work on ourselves. And all these people around us are just sent by Krishna somehow or another to bring out what still needs to be worked on.
Mm.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so much.
wonderful. I think we have 1 minute left or something like that.
Great.
3 minutes, 2 minutes left.
Sukhavaha Devi, is there room for Krishna in this equation between me and others? Or it's all about my needs, my and this and that? Is there Krishna somewhere in there?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Krishna's totally there. Krishna wants our mood, and he sends other people to help us to see where we are in our mood development. He's sending people, personally sending people to help us in our mood development. And our needs are for us to be grounded and realize where I am in my Krishna consciousness, where I am in my awareness, and what do I need? How can I increase my mood? And always, always, Krishna wants us to call out to him and pray, Krishna, help me. Right now, I feel like I need this. I need this. Help me. Help me to have what I need to take the next step, because we can't jump. We can only take one step at a time. Help me to fulfill the next need that I have in order to take one step closer to you. So praying to Krishna always. There is always, Krishna's always there, and our praying can be constant in that way. And it needs to be constant, actually, because we can't do this without Krishna. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect. Thanks. Perfect sense. Thank you.
That was a great ending. Thank you for bringing that into the room here. I just want to thank everybody for their time and their participation and their presence. And now we get to see Radha Muralidhar. Did they get to see Radha Muralidhar too? And you get to see Radha Muralidhar. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm offering my obeisances to everybody. Vanchakalpachibhishcha, Kripa Sindhibhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. Haribo. Thank you.
Her Grace Sukhavaha Devi ki.
Jai.
Jai Radha Muralidhara Radha Muralidhara Shri Radhe. Jaya Gaura Chandra Jaya Gaura Chandra Jaya Gaura Chandra Jaya Gaura Chandra Buddha Sundaranga Govinda, Bhagami, Govinda, Hari Purusham, Bhagami, Govinda, Hari Purusham, Bhagami. Anganiyasya Sakalam Priya Priti Manti Asyanti Pantikayanti Ira Yaganti Anandachimaya Sadhu Anandasya Hari Purusham Govinda Hari Purusham Kamahapayami Govinda Hari Purusham Kamahapayami Govinda Hari Purusham Bhajami Govinda Hari Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govinda Hari Purusham Namaham Bhajami. Sukhavaha ki
Jai.
Our spiritual master.
Hari Om.
I bow to those with great awe and reverence. By His grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my conscience
Purified by the words emanating from my lips. Don't longer act.
Is my Lord on any static the friend of the Lord, give us a shade, spread all over the three worlds. Meditation of the lotus feet.
Temple Room Ki Jai.
Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, welcome to the Afterglow. Would anyone like to speak in line with Guru Sadhu and Shastra? Great class today. Very deep. I was thinking, if something goes wrong, it's not that it's coming from this other person. It's coming from Krishna. Krishna sent this person in my life, and there's a lesson for me to learn. So the problem is not coming from this person. The problem is coming from Krishna as a way to edify me, uplift me. So that's my takeaway. Would anyone like to share their takeaway? Yeah? Anupam Prabhu, are you speaking? Yes, the cow is speaking, see? That's Anupam.
Hare Krishna Ram Prabhu. Great hair today. I could see you take after your dad, that hair. I thought it was a fantastic class. I appreciated her. Well, should I take this avatar off? I don't know. I feel silly now. I don't know if I can. It might be too complicated at this point. But I really appreciated the class, and I appreciated her. Mother Sukhavaha's emphasis on self-reflection. I think it's so important. In one of my favorite verses, text 17 of Divinity and Divine Service, it says Krishna is in everybody's heart, and he's the benefactor of the truthful devotee, which I thought was interesting. The truthful devotee, what does that actually mean? But I think Mother Sukhava was touching on that point, that it means we have to reflect on ourselves and be honest and see how we can do our best according to where we're currently at. So yeah, I think that in some circles that can be a little taboo, self-analysis and self-reflection. People might say, oh well, just chant Hare Krishna and then everything's fine. But it's a long haul, Krishna consciousness, and I think there is something to be said for the power of self-reflection and honesty as we approach our devotional practices. Not that the two need be mutually exclusive. Haribol Ram, he's the cutest kid of all time. Yes.
Thank you, Anupam Prabhu. Yeah, there's room for self-reflection and self-help, if you will, in
Yes.
consciousness. As long as Krishna is in the center, as long as the devotee is done in the proper mood under the guidance of the spiritual master and in the association of good devotees, there's no problem with psychoanalysis. We're all psycho, right?
Yes. Yes, me for sure.
Chant and be honest, says Narottam Nitai. Yeah. Okay, would anyone like to speak?
Well, for one thing, Anupam, I can't decide which one I like better, your avatar or your real face. They're both adorable. And as is Amrita Kishore, she already knows how I feel about hers. And my last comment about adorability is Ram himself, especially with the hair. But as far as Mother Sukhava has talked, Ananda Bihari, I just, you and I had the same takeaway. I just want to supplement it by saying that, I love her emphasis on the fact that we are here to develop mood, not external activities. I really appreciated that, because the reason why I appreciate that is because I feel like sometimes maybe the focus might be too much on trying to do more, rather than improve the mood with which we are doing whatever we are trying to do. Because as most scholars have said, he doesn't need for us to accomplish anything for him. What he needs is the love with which we are accomplishing whatever we're accomplishing. He's looking for the love, not for the activities. Even when that activity is chanting or doing anything that's like directly devotional, deity worship, and all the rest, he's not looking, he doesn't need us to do that. He needs the love that those activities are vehicles for. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gail. I see Devaki Preeti is very, very satisfied. Insane.
Her smile is very satisfying.
Yeah.
She has a very luminous smile.
Uh-huh.
I love Mama Gail how you said that, all those things, that it's just a vehicle for the love. Like that's the essence. Everything that we're doing in devotional service, we want to have that mood, that love, and that's what Krishna is looking for. So that's such a good reminder, especially in the new year when you can have lots of aspirations for doing a lot of things, but we also want to be seeing where our heart is at and in what way are we doing these things. So that's such a good reminder. So thank you for reiterating what
Well,
Sukhavaha was saying, but saying it in your own way. I like how you articulated it.
well, that statement just reminds me that, we're not so different from Krishna, or Krishna's not so different from us. I don't know how you want to put it, because we're the same way. We don't care about what people do for us as much as we care about the mood in which they do it for us. Yeah, you can prepare me a beautiful meal, but do I want you to just throw it at me, or do it grudgingly for me, or do I want you to do it with affection for me? So I feel like we can really relate to Krishna on that point.
Yes, especially when you remember that Krishna is a person and we're serving a person.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're relatable, because we're both people. you know
Thank you, Neil. That's a great point. Krishna is not an alien. He's relatable. He's a
Yeah.
person. He knows what's going on. And he'll take care. If somebody is doing wrong to you, then Krishna is aware of that, and he'll take care of it.
yeah, how your eyes opened up. That
Yeah.
scared me even.
And then I can chill. Krishna will take care of it. It's okay. I don't have to be the judge. Okay.
Ananda Bihari Sage wants to tell you something. Rama's so cute.
Ram is so cute. Thank you, Sage. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll tell him. Ram, this is Sage. You see? Is Sage cute? She is. Look. Look at her smile. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Karen, Annabelle, Isaiah, Sage, please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna like you're chanting for a person, for Krishna. Krishna can hear. Please, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much. Ram started jumping and dancing to your chanting. Thank you so much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to Mother Sukhavaha. And all the child-like devotees assembled together every day to hear from Scripture. Hare Krishna. We love you. Happy Friday.